Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the Queers of Time podcast.
I'm Matt.
I'm James.
I'm Kenny.
And I'm Kat.
And this is a podcast to talk about all the gay stuff in the Wheel of Time.
Because we're gay and we like the Wheel of Time. So first, I'm gonna thank our new patron, Elle. Thank you so much for supporting us. And also, as usual, shout out to our fellow Vendetta of Sura in Lux. We would also like to thank Travis, who does our transcription, and Kevin, who does our promo videos.
Like a raging hard-on, our love for the characters in the Wheel of Time only grows with each episode. And boy, do we have a lot of growth today. Ihvon and Maksim, Liandrin's cheekbones, Nynaeve grumpily eating a biscuit, and some sweet, sweet old tongue from Lan and Nynaeve. Episode 4, The Dragon Reborn, has it all. So kick back as we talk about the episode with the most explosive climax yet.
A raging hard-on!
Oh my god!
I was already checked out, and I really wish I had just been rendered catatonic at that, just cum after cum after cum pun.
Come after come after come.
This is what happens when Matt writes the intros.
I don't know, it's great.
It's true. It's very good.
It put us in a good mood. On this, let's start with our favorite moments of episode 4. Who wants to get us started? Kat, maybe?
Okay, so this one goes without saying. And I want to preface this by saying, because Camille verbally attacked me last week for not doing any Nynaeve moments, this is what you get. So I'm only going to talk about Nynaeve for the rest of this episode because it's what she deserves. It's the Raging Sun. Mm-hmm. It's the best moment. I would argue it's the best moment of the season, but that's just me, and maybe I'm a little biased.
I agree.
Wait, no, we voted on this for JordanCon once. We did an entire live panel with Maria and Matt Hatch, and I'm just trying to remember what we actually voted or what people voted as the top scene. So let me research that really quick.
Okay. I imagine Blood Snow is up there as well. But for me, this one is it's just so good. Everything about it is just so good. And I don't know if we want to talk about it super in depth right now, but it's just everything about it. The build up to Nynaeve being super panicked because she's suddenly thrust into this battle that comes out of nowhere, and she's never been, around really any kind of violence, and it's obviously building and building, and then she sees all of this death and dying around her, and the man that she's falling in love with is bleeding out in front of her, and she just, it
was wonderful. Just
all of her love and protection, and she looked at the pattern and was like, absolutely not. We're not doing this today.
Not today.
Not today.
I mean, she said, she is basically the Chuck Norris of Randland. She said no.
She said absolutely not.
Except she has actual talent.
Well, yes. Except she's Nynaeve, and, automatically that makes her superior. I feel like I could fill up an entire mini episode just talking about that end scene. That's how much I love it, and that's how good it is. And the ramifications for it.
I think one day we should do an episode, but it's not queer, but just about Lan and Nynaeve in the TV show.
I will make an exception for them. Yeah.
Oh.
This episode especially is very good about them.
So yes, it was number 2. Number 1 was Shael.
Was Blood Snow. That's what I figured. Because that's also an extremely good scene.
I actually didn't put any specific Nynaeve moments, my favorite moments of the episode, because she's just so awesome that she's a category of her own. So I'm just going to save most of mine for the general comments.
Yeah, I mean, all of my moments are second place to a Raging Sun, because that is pretty much the only thing where I have just rewound it to watch it several times.
Multiple times, yeah.
So, yeah, to me, it's the best scene of the entire season 1.
Yeah.
Like, there's a couple of second places, but that is very much on its own tier.
Yeah. It's just, and like Zoe Robbins is so good. Like the realization on her face at the end of that scene when, like, you know, everyone is looking at her in amazement and she's like, oh, fuck. She's like, that is the face of a woman who's like, I am never going to be left alone again in my life, because she knows now. She's like, oh.
It's like, oh, shit.
I mean,
Yep.
I think the acting, sorry, I know this isn't one of my bullet points, but I think the acting overall, like, there were some lines that were delivered that I think were just so in character. Like Rosamund Pike saying, you've held back armies. Why? How does one healing one wound? And I'm like, it's so her.
This episode writing is so good.
It's so good. That's what's crazy is this is the episodes that's the most outside of the book canon. Like it's not, there isn't really a lot that's like specifically book canon, but it felt the most like Wheel of Time, if that makes sense. Like it's just, everything just worked really, really well together. It's,
Yeah, I did mention the writing as like one of my favorite parts. Like the way they introduced the Ajas, specifically the difference between the green and the blue and the red. And you know there's other ones. I think you know there's other ones at this point.
We have seen a yellow one.
Oh, right.
yeah, that's true.
Okay. So we know that others exist, but you have them so clearly defined. Like green with Alana's speech, blue just, yes, with Moraine, but also Liandrin does a fair bit of like world building for that. And then the red Aja is very clearly defined in this episode. There are so many lines in here, and I'm sure we're going to touch on some, but my favorite one was from Liandrin at the very end, and it's basically like Shakespearean. It's like, let the hand of the tower fall on you, Loghain Ablar, and take back that which nature itself does not wish you to hold.
That was a really good line.
It's so good.
It's a great line.
It's so good. Like, Liandrin's energy in this entire episode.
Right?
Oh, baby.
Right?
Let's not forget our cheekbones.
Oh, and those cheekbones. I mean, step on me. She could step on me, and I would thank her for it.
Her cheekbones can step on you.
Her cheekbones could step on me, and I would thank her for it.
Yes, mommy.
Yes, mommy.
Since we're on the writing, like on a completely different moment, one line that I surprisingly really enjoy was Aram telling Egwene, who is he, the man that holds your heart? Have you lost him? I don't know. It feels also very theatrical. I don't know. It's a good line. I love it.
It is. The Tuathon are my next favorite bits of the episode, honestly.
While we are on like vaguely Nynaeve and like cinematic theatrical things, one thing I loved was the battle scene in the end as a whole really worked for me. Someone, I think James said Shakespearean, and like the more I think of it, like there's just so much drama and tension, like so finely tuned tension, and everything is thematically tied together in this episode. Maybe in a way that it isn't in any other episode. Like this is not 10 out of 10 writing. It's like 100 out of 10 writing.
It's really good.
But the battle scene is amazing. Everything is wonderful, and Alana just kicks total ass and shows us what the battle Aja is. But the best part is, the sisters might have the one power, but Nynaeve has her dagger. She just flips that blade out and starts stabbing people, and it's the best.
And that is the most deadly weapon, let's be honest.
And then from like the high...
I was just like, regarding that dagger, I was realizing while we were watching that episode, that's the first human she's killing, right?
That we know of.
That's a good point that we know of, but I think it's safe to assume that's the first human she's killing.
No, you fuck around in the Two Rivers and you find out.
And you find out, well, that's true.
Just to tag on one thing, Matt, like I loved the line from Alana saying, "Go, we got this." And like 2 scenes prior, like 5 seconds before, a red Aja sister just took 2 arrows to the chest, and she's like, "Nah, we got this. Bye.
We're good. Peace."
She's a red.
She'll be fine.
But Elena is so good.
I know, but that's how confident Alana is.
She's a badass.
And then she goes and kills the king of Gaeldon in the next bit. She says bye.
Hell yeah.
She kills Loghain's twink lover.
What was that?
Twink lover. I know. Anyways, just don't even ask questions about it. But to bring like the theme of emotional centering in the episode back, when Karini dies, it's like, how can they make us care about a character who we have met just once, and then it hurts so much when she dies, and we feel Steppen's pain, and it's just so...
I was so sad. I liked her a lot.
I did too. I was so mad. Like, couldn't you just kill like a random red or something?
I know.
Yeah, but like it wouldn't have the same impact, especially considering like the next episode.
You're right. I know.
I love Steppen and Karine in that episode. Like,
they're so sweet.
They have a lot of good lines too. Like,
yeah.
I think in the Discord that I'm on, the I have nothing but respect for Marine Sedai become kind of a famous quote where...
Yeah.
Nothing but respect.
Mm-hmm.
But I really love those two characters and their dynamic. And it's nice because we get to see different type of dynamics between Warders and Aes Sedai. And I think that's something this episode does really well.
Yeah, I agree. Oh my god, they're so good.
They're good, yeah.
It does. Who wants to take the next favorite moment?
We mentioned a bit Alana, so we could continue on her.
That's what I was going to say. I'm like, Camille and I both have as our first bullet point, just Alana.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Literally just Alana. Like, my quote is, Alana, everything about Alana, but especially her humor and her smirk. I hate that I love her so much, even though...
I have a similar thing. Like, I absolutely love Alana in this episode. A discussion with Moraine in the cave, I want to know more about their dynamic, about like their friendship and everything. Like, it's... They kind of banter a little bit, and she was such a badass in that battle.
Oh, she was so good.
I'm gonna have to talk again about Alana in like the spoiler sections.
Oh yes, definitely. We need to have a conversation about Alana in the spoiler section because oh boy,
yeah,
yeah.
They are doing such a good job on the TV show. I'm sorry to say, it's. Especially considering the number of characters we've already been introduced to. Like, all of them are pretty well developed. And this episode especially, I think it had a lot of good character moments. Like, good character development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like Dave Hill wrote this episode, so kudos to you, Dave Hill.
Good job, Dave Hill.
You've written some Game of Thrones stuff, and this episode.
Nice. Another favorite moment, and other people have mentioned this as well, but the conversation between Isla, and Perrin.
Oh gosh.
About violence and peace and all of that. It's just so good. It's beautiful. It's heartbreakingly beautiful. There's so much grief in that conversation and also so much hope in that conversation. She is a really good, like, one side of the argument, I think, for Perrin. And it'll be interesting to see when he gets the other side in terms of his ongoing struggle with violence. And is violence okay? Should there not be violence? Should I not do violence? Like, and Maria, what's her name? Doyle Kennedy. Yeah. She's so good in this. I
really hope they utilize her more because she's great.
Me too. Yeah, she's fantastic. Like, oh my God. Ugh, my heart went out to her. Yeah.
In the books, I could not care less about the way of the leaf.
Yes.
After this episode, I was like, maybe she has a point.
Yeah, she's made some points. Yeah, like the line, what is it? Okay, I think one of us has written it.
Is it the line about how, like...
About, like, what better...
Oh, what better,
What greater revenge against violence than peace? What greater revenge against death than life?
That's beautiful.
It is beautiful. And her voice breaks at the end.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And I do what I can to forge a better world for her than where she can enjoy the life she should have had with me.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so good.
I usually, like, quibble with, like, theological statements like that, but I think we can take it for granted in this world that she's correct and that the wheel does spin out souls.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
Like, that's literally how it works. I know I've said it before, but, like, the way that people are aware of the wheel is amazing to me. I love it.
I love it.
It's a little weird because...
It makes complete sense, I think.
It's weird in the sense that, like, it's like knowing God is real. Like, just knowing.
Right.
Well, there's no need for faith. Faith is irrelevant.
Right. It just is. It's so weird.
Well, yeah, and that's why I say it's weird. Yeah, so that's another... Yeah, I mean, in my notes, I was like, when I'm in the notes when I was watching, And the first Tinker scene came on, I was like, oh, the Tinkers, yay.
That was me too. Yep. I was like, oh, right, they're here. This is the Nynaeve episode, though.
But that speech was good.
Yeah, it was very good.
So just to talk about two of my favorite moments that happened back to back, involves Tom and Rand and Matt. Hush.
Well, we needed someone to talk about Tom and Rand and Matt, so
there was some good stuff.
We are glad that Matt is there to talk about them.
Thank you, Matt.
Otherwise, we will not.
So first, I was laughing the entire time Tom and Rand were talking about whether or not Matt could channel. I was like, that boy has zero talent for anything except barely staying alive, sometimes delivering funny lines, and looking like something that fell out of a raccoon's dirty cooter. He cannot do anything. So
bless his heart.
Bless his heart. So why do y'all think that he's possibly the dragon? He is so inept. But that conversation was very good world building, which I think that's just the theme with the whole episode.
And it was well placed with because you have Tom talking about his nephew and the madness and channeling, and at the same time you see the manifestation of the channeling with Logain, and with Logain being cut from the source too.
Yeah, I was going to say that, Tom's whole story with his nephew, Owen, I think his name was, spelled in a fantasy way with a Y instead of an E.
Of course.
Because if you add a Y and replace it with an A or an E, then it's a fantasy name. So I just think it was one of the emotional cores of the episode, at least the emotional core of that segment. I mean, some people can talk about the doll, but I mean, it's sad, but it happens. That's just a fantasy trope, an innocent dies, and we have a physical reminder of that. So I think the story about men who go mad struck a deeper chord. And then my second is the line, "I'm here, you know that, right? No matter what happens, I'm here," between Rand and Matt. And I'm like, I bet so many non-book readers just went on to AO3 and started looking for Matt and Rand ships.
I wrote a note in our original doc where let me find it, because it's about that line, and it
and
I'm here, you know that, right? No matter what happens, I'm here. And I'm like, is that how men support each other? A for effort, but Jesus Christ, that's sad.
Well, I mean, it's the way he says it too. He whispers it so lovingly over Matt's shoulder as he sleeps.
I mean, yeah.
He's just gazing at Matt sleeping.
He wasn't sleeping. His eyes were open. I made a GIF of it. I just put it in our host chat for Dragon Mount.
I mean, good for Rand, good for Rand for looking past the fact that he's crushing on this dirty, filthy creature that's barely even civilized, much less attractive. And, I give him props for that. It's about the heart at the center of the dirty trash panda and not the exterior. But I love that moment. It was like throwing the fans a little bone, because that the Matt and Rand on the road
bone.
Throw a gay boner. Flashback to
throw a gay boner. Yeah, there we go. Memories.
I think the last one that I have one other, and Camille has one other, but the Nynaeve around the campfire, Kat and I both mentioned, and how Nynaeve is just not as much of a fucking prude.
No, yeah.
She was like, they don't, right? And then she's like, oh, okay, apparently they all fuck now.
Yeah.
And they're not quiet. She heard that in the tent over.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely she did.
Do you think I said I take the time to...
Yes, she did masturbate.
That was not my question, but do you think Alana takes the time to put a weave so the sound doesn't go out, or is she the loudest ever just to annoy?
You know what? I think one of the other Aes Sedai does.
Probably.
They do it for Alana, but Alana does not do it because she wants people to know. She wants them to know that she is
getting dick.
She's that bitch.
It's one of the Aes Sedai, maybe one of the Reds sees Alana and Ihvon and Maksim go into the tent, and she's like, oh shit, this again. And she just puts a weave over the tent as they go inside.
She's like, Jesus Christ, here we go again. But it's and Nynaeve gets the cutest little smile on her face. It's so cute. Like it's not like she's not embarrassed. It's not an embarrassed smile. It's just the like realization and then almost like a fondness. Like,
I know. She's like, could I have 2 dicks?
Yeah. Listen, girl, I support you.
Did y'all see her face when Moraine comes to pick up Lan? Like, she gets this like little flash of anger on her face. It's like so subtle, but
it's amazing.
So good.
She is not happy. And meanwhile, like, all that's happening in Moraine and Lan's tent is just like Moraine is being a weepy drunk is what's happening.
Lan has 1 drink.
1 drink, and Moraine is just like...
She feels it through the bond.
She's feeling the effect.
She's emotional. I am emotional too after a drink. It's more like it's just I'm less repressed.
1 drink? Fuck.
No, it's more like...
Oh, repression? Yes, that's accurate.
Well.
It's... I don't know. It's also like she's been through a lot. Like, give her a break.
Oh, she's had a hard couple of days.
To be clear, I am not judging Moraine at all. I am, as someone who is also a very weepy drunk, I get it. Like, it's a very weepy and emotional. I get it. It's fine. It's fine.
I just love that is emotional for her. Like, that is...
Yes. Yeah.
Her saying one emotional thing, referencing her feelings... She's gone off the deep end. Lan is like, she is gone.
And Lan is like, oh God, she is gone.
I love that the Aes Sedai also comments on her, like, not giving anything to anyone. Like, she's a mystery to everyone. And I love that.
Moraine is like the chillest, most extra person.
Right?
And I love that. It's just like, she is is so mysterious for no reason. Like, for sometimes for very good reasons. For very, very good reasons, but also for absolutely no reason. 0 reason whatsoever.
The good thing is that since she's always like mysterious about everything, that means that when it's about something that matters, like nobody knows it's something particularly that matters, she never says anything anyway, so you never know if it's something important or not.
Yeah, it's just so funny that that conversation with her and Alana about the dog, and she's just like, she knows that Alana knows that she had a dog. She had a dog. She had a secret dog. And yet, Moraine is like, I don't know. What is she talking about? I
will say, I had this in another section, but I like that the dog was just a dog. Everyone was convinced it was Suan, and it was Code, but it was a dog.
Yeah, it was a dog. Yeah. Which I'm very happy with that, honestly.
I think to mention the last moment before we move on, I think we do need to mention the Lan and Nynaeve moments where they, when Lan is praying about the 7th Tower of Malkirs, and then Nynaeve say a sentence in the old tongue. I think it was a nice moment to connect them and also to give some background on both of them, because at this time we didn't really know, like, we knew that Nynaeve was raised by the wisdom, but like the fact that her parents said that, we learn about the 7th Tower of Malkir. I cried a little bit because you say in this life or the next, and it's a sentence that appears a lot in Wyonun, so I was like, I cannot anymore. It's a really nice quote too. Like, we shall go into the land so our children can always hold us and we'll never be alone. That's beautiful.
It's beautiful, yeah.
7 times for the 7 towers of Malkir, for the home we lost, the home we shall find again in this life or the next.
Yeah.
This is so dramatic, and also it's very fantasy. Yeah, I love it.
But it doesn't feel overly tropey, which I don't know how they managed to do it.
Yeah.
Good writing.
Yes.
It's a really good, yes.
I mean, like, also right after Nynaeve saying that he isn't what she expected, and she uses his title, like Alan Mandragoran, Mandragoran, whatever. And then he uses her title right back, says Wisdom Almira. And I'm like, oh.
That's so sweet.
Like, she doesn't know that, like.
She has no idea what it means. No. She just heard the other warders call him that. She has no idea about the context of it. And so.
Yeah.
This is actually a good segue into the foreshadowing section because...
Hey, look at us!
Because one of my foreshadowing comments was that the whole Lan and Nynaeve romance developing the way it does is a very beautiful reflection on how they interact later on in the season. It's almost like a mirror. Like you see these moments when they both let their guard down and open their hearts to each other, and each time it gets more and more loving or romantic, etc. So that was one of my two favorite foreshadowing moments, and I think it was just so beautifully done. Like, it's easily the best romance of the series. While we're talking about, I'll just mention it briefly. My favorite foreshadowing, other one is my little ginger boy Rand bending the pattern of the weaves to talk down the Grinwalls. Or it just, maybe the pattern didn't have anything to do with it. Maybe it's just like, they saw his beautiful face and his pouty lips and his smoldering eyes. And they were just like, someone this attractive probably isn't going to kill us. So maybe it was the pattern, maybe it wasn't.
Because attractive people can't be bad.
Attractive people can't be bad.
It's impossible.
But in more seriousness, I liked that foreshadowing about, because at this point, if you're listening to us, you should know Rand is the dragon.
He's the dragon.
And this is a good foreshadowing moment for that.
Exercise gives you endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. Happy people don't kill people.
That's true.
But what if killing makes you happy?
That's another issue you need to consult.
There we go.
I think a lot of the other foreshadowing are about the Aes Sedai stuff, so I'll just leave my quick to Asahan notes. Perrin asking the two Asahan what they would do if they were attacked, and they literally get attacked in the next episode. Yeah, and they do not run. They stand their ground.
Nope.
We'll have to talk about that next time, because that's a great scene too.
Oh, it's good. It's good stuff. Oh, next episode is... Oh my god, I'm so excited.
I will talk about it more in the next episode. I just think that they accomplished what the warder bond means in this episode. And
interesting.
The step-in bit was not necessary. I may feel differently in the next episode, but we will find out.
Okay. We will jot that down.
Kat, do you want to go through your foreshadowing?
Sure. Yeah, we kind of talked about it, but Stepin being the one specifically to mention, to describe sort of the warder bond with the Aes Sedai. It's so heartbreaking knowing what happens in literally the next episode. And also just, seeing all of the beautiful moments between him and Karini, it's beautifully heartbreaking. Yeah, and I like that they're giving so much depth to the warder bond. It explains it even like Lan and Moiraine when in that little scene when they're sort of talking alone together, and Lan is like, you always get emotional when I drink, and even that, like, it gives a glimpse to like how close that bond is. It's like it's beyond husband and wife, as Stepin says. It's on a completely different level, and it just makes what happens later all the more heartbreaking. Even with Moiraine at the very end of the season, and losing connection to the source. It's what does that mean for the warder bond that she has with Lan? I
feel like our episode 8 episode, that's gonna either be very long or a 2-parter.
I think it might have to. So I'm gonna say this now. We might have to forego the no spoilers, except like only in the last part of it, because that it's gonna be a lot.
We may just have to do full spoilers for the whole.
Oh, that's a good idea. But then just quickly, my other one, talking about, I think a couple of people mentioned how Liandrin is whipping votes, literally. Like she's getting that support. And in episode 6, it continues in episode 5, but in episode 6 is really where it starts to become super relevant and will continue to be relevant, I'm assuming, into season 2.
She's a bitch.
Yes, she is. And you know what? I'm into it.
We support women's right to be wrong.
We support women's wrongs.
But you know what else? I could fix her, is the thing.
Some women, we have to support their right to be wrong, because otherwise they just wouldn't have any rights at all. Some individuals,
Well,
wow.
You know
wow.
What? Well,
I would say that's the episode title, but I am not comfortable typing those words out.
Ooh, boy.
I'm talking about like the Marjorie Taylor Greens and Lauren Boeberts of the world.
I don't support their rights. Mine are very, very small. Like, burning out, we see Liandrin at the end of this episode, and you see it again in episode 8. And then also shielding versus stilling, which you get 2 very good examples of, and people are still talking about it in episode 8. So, yep.
And I think my last one in terms of foreshadowing is when Lan and Stepping are training, and Lan is asking about the writer, and he's specifically asking about the Amerlin seat. And I'm just, I always laugh.
Like, she wants to go and drag them back personally, and...
Yeah, she's threatened to drag them back home, and I just find that so funny because Stepin doesn't know, but Lan is directly asking about his Aes Sedai girlfriend.
How is the Amerlin seat? Still seated.
Still seated, yep.
But not on my face.
And she doesn't like Moraine. Yeah, I just found that so funny.
I just love the idea of Swan trying to find, and the people have posted about this before, Swan trying to find intricate and more complicated ways of voicing, trying to give the illusion of hating Moraine, even though that's not actually the case. And just like I think I saw someone say like, oh, I'm going to paddle her when she gets back. And it's just like, yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
Okay, let's move on to the next section then. Change is scary, and so is the drama. Kat, do you want to start?
Yes, so I think I talked about it earlier, but like this episode was the most like, there wasn't really a lot of like specific book content in it, but it felt to me anyway, it felt like this is the episode where things really felt Wheel of Timey. And so, I mean, and it's not even that the stuff that happens is not canon, because it is for the most part.
It's just off-screen canon.
Exactly. It's off-screen canon, but the way that they expanded on it. And so, I mean, this entire episode is like, change is scary. And there was a lot of drama. How about that? And so, yeah, I mean, kind of everything that happened in specifically in the Aes Sedai camp. But it was good, though. I think it was kind of necessary, too, because it really expanded on like the Wheel of Time lore. And I think it was a good call for Rafe to introduce that sort of portion of the lore, because it's people like that. It's something that like the general audience is going to relate to. And so I know not all fans were fans of getting so much Aes Sedai stuff at the beginning in season 1, but I personally really liked it. I think it worked.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it has a lot to do with world building in general, because you can't have these like giant, like this entire world where the Aes Sedai are super huge and then not introduce them for a season.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
In what world does that make sense when they are literally like the entire, like the most powerful people in the world that everyone's aware of?
Yes.
It's not just going to be Moraine for season 1. No.
That would be so silly. Can you imagine?
You got to have Sister Strongjaw.
Of course.
And especially considering that both Ihvon and Nynaeve are supposed to become Aes Sedai, and like in this season we know they already have some sort of power. It makes more sense to expand a bit more what Aes Sedai are, so we can understand what those characters could become.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to see like what a big fucking deal it is that Egwene and Nynaeve can become these people.
Yeah, exactly. And to show how they interact with them too, right? Like the differences in how Egwene interacts with Aes Sedai and how Nynaeve interacts with Aes Sedai. And we saw in a big way the way that Nynaeve interacts with Aes Sedai. And, I mean, well, for Nynaeve, it's kind of like, no, it's a giant like neon flashing sign that just says no anytime an Aes Sedai approaches her. So, but still, it's good.
Yeah.
And we get a little bit more... the more we learn about Aes Sedai in this season, the less we'll have to learn in the next season when they start training or whatever they're going to do in the next season. And also it was a good opportunity to learn about Logain. And they seem to want to expand his character, which I am all for that. I'm very excited with that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he didn't. I just remember reading the books, and his character never really
did anything.
Clicked with me. Say what?
Did anything?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, kind of.
I mean, he was a sad boy.
He was a sad boy, which I understand for some people that is very appealing, but 'tis not appealing for me, so he never really clicked.
I'm surprised he doesn't do it for you, Matt. Like, you're into the sad boys with Rand.
I do like the sad boys, but the problem is this is a series full of sad boys.
Well, that's accurate.
The competition is high.
That's true.
And Logain does not even place.
It's true, unfortunately.
Maybe the TV show is the opportunity for him to place in the sad boy competition.
We can only dream. Let's hope.
I feel like this is going to be the Queers of Time Grinwell Cup. It's going to be Sad Boy.
Sad Boy. The Sad Boy Cup.
Tell me about them sad boys.
Who got the biggest sad boy energy?
That's right.
Sad boy energy.
I'm going to work on that now.
See, that's interesting. Yeah. We need to workshop this. This is good. I like this.
Sad boy cup.
Yep.
James, do you want to expand on?
Yes, I have a few things. Surprising. James has opinions. Shock. Hold for shock. I remember the first drama of this episode was weeks before before this episode even aired, and it was when we saw the rings.
Oh my god! Oh my
gosh!
God.
It was when we saw Karene's ring, and people had opinions.
Yeah, they did.
And
say it.
I didn't not echo their opinions.
Sure.
Because I had feels about it. I thought the rings were very gaudy, but I like them. They are gaudy. It's a very obvious way for people to tell who are Aes Sedai and who aren't. And the whole thing later in the season where they melt the rings down and stuff. That's really cool. I love that. But I remember the ring drama when we first saw them, and people were pissed.
Oh my god.
People said, "What is that? What is that chonk?"
People lost their damn minds.
I wouldn't say I lost my mind. One of Kat's favorite sayings is, both things can be true. They needed some way.
One of my favorite sayings is from the drag queen Tatiana. Choices, yeah. They needed a way to signal to the audience how these Ajas operate and how to differentiate between them. But one, that would make more sense to make a gaudy ring if they only had the shawls and there was literally no other way to tell. Right.
Second,
yes,
those rings are so fucking ugly. I am so sorry.
I don't know if it's that they're ugly. I think it's that they're too big.
They're just chunky. They look very impractical.
They are, I have several of the Badali jewelry Aes Sedai rings that I really, really love. Those are practical. I can wear them on a necklace. I can wear them on a ring if I really want to, but I don't wear rings. But these are more display pieces. It's kind of like how Nynaeve Nynaeve is not a ring that you wear daily.
She's not a ring you wear, no.
Nynaeve is a ring that you display and you say, look at me. I have too much money and I'm sad. Here's a ring to show that.
Exactly.
I think, yes, the big deal with the ring is that people were so used to be able to just cosplay an Aes Sedai by getting those thin, practical ring, a thin Ouroboros. But if the thing is that in a TV show, if you want something to be seen, it has to be big, especially for ring and this kind of thing.
You paint for the back of the room, essentially.
James, you're thinking about something that I did not think of.
No. It's just there are lots of inappropriate things I could say, but I'm not going to.
I know.
I saw you mentally scrolling through all of them.
I realized that later.
My Rolodex of my big dick Rolodex. I was like, wait. Okay. My big dick Rolodex.
I just think that the rings are very ugly, but also I don't care that much.
Right. In the grand scheme of things,
it's a ring.
It's such a small thing.
Also, but I am the one thing that everybody was upset about or confused by when the episode did air was just the scene where they didn't translate it very well.
Yes.
On screen, it looks even rewatching it recently, I was just like, it looks like he can see those weaves.
It does.
Mm-hmm. I was confused for 2 minutes because I was like, which point are you talking about? Can you? And I'm like, is that one or that one? Because I'm watching the dog and I'm like, which one are we at?
No, yeah, I was just like, it looks, the explosion of Saidar, like, it wasn't translated well on screen, but you know what? The fact that they owned up and said, look, it didn't translate well.
Yeah.
Good.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
They recognized it, and you know what? I suspect it will not happen like that again. Like they are aware of it. They seem conscious of it. You know, they know better going forward. So
yeah.
And the only other thing I was confused by, and I'm still confused by, is how Logain knew how to break the shield when he did. Like, he was pretending about not being able to break out just to, like, I get that part. Mm-hmm. But I didn't see anything in the scene, and I watched it a few times that would alert him. Like, I didn't see anything that would alert him to the fact that now was the time to escape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a great point. You know what? Until I read that, I hadn't thought of it either. It was one of those things where I was just like, oh, it's TV. It's just
And I know that, and I'm willing to say that. It's fine. I'm just like, how'd that work?
That's a good point, though. Yeah, how did that work? How did he know?
I'm curious because there's a moment where you kind of see him smirk early in the episode, and when Logain's allies arrive, there's this strong reaction from Karene and Liandrin that may indicate that, oh, there's trouble coming. So maybe he just reacted to that. But yeah, maybe we'll also learn later on if there's any other opportunity for a character to break a shield or...
Maybe Logain set wards or something. Maybe he had bonded the King of Gildan and they were fucking and he sensed him get closer.
Didn't I call the King of Gildan his twink BF at some point?
Yes. I mean, I believe it.
Yeah, Camille, did you have one more thing?
Yeah, I had one quick thing. When we find out about all the bodies and Matt with his dagger, I feel like for like a few minutes, most of the fandom freaked out and thought that Matt actually killed those people, and we're like, no, Matt would never do that even when possessed is counting. And it made me laugh thinking back to that. I'm like, no, that's fine. The dagger, there's really no blood on the dagger. The fade is there. We know Matt is not. But the idea of that just made me laugh.
I don't understand how people could think that. Like, I think Matt is stupid, but whatever. But he still wouldn't do that.
Yeah, it's...
like, that's just dumb.
I know. I remember that too. I was like, come on, guys. Come on, y'all.
My first thought was not that he did it, but like that the dagger physically possessed him, like a different variation on the possession, like a physical, he literally cannot control what he's doing type of possession. And I would have been fine with that.
Yeah.
It would have been a weird but cool new twist, but I like the way they did it. But I never thought that Matt, like, consciously and of his own free will killed the family. Like, come on, people. Mm-hmm. Like, I could buy a possession, but I can't, no.
No.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It was, yeah.
If James is giving Matt the benefit of the doubt, then you know you are not on the reasonable side.
Yeah.
Kat, you had another thing you wanted to mention.
Yeah, it would honestly. So I feel like we've talked about her before, but Isla, how do you pronounce it? Either way, Maria Doyle Kennedy's character. I love that she is the one that is like expanded in this, because I think it was the reverse in the books where it was the husband who was interacting. She is so fantastic as a character. I could watch an entire episode of just her like speaking words of wisdom. Maybe not an entire episode, but I want to see so much more of her. I think she's a fascinating character. And that scene where she has the really emotional scene with Parent.
That scene was amazing.
And it's beautiful. I am completely on board with her character. I want to see more.
Yeah, I think she's an amazing addition, and I really hope that they utilize Maria Doyle Kennedy's talent, like, because that's intense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now to our next and last section. General comments. We're gonna have some book spoiler to talk about there. So for people who haven't read the books,
we're free. We can.
Matt, do you want to start us off?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. My first general comment is that I didn't really mention the end of the episode throughout my favorite moments and whatever, but that's because I think it deserves a category of its own. I think it's like the objective best ending of the episodes in the series.
Yeah.
Also, I'm really starting as to two characters and like changes about where they're going in the show. I hope that Alana changes, because if like the whole reason that we don't like Alana is because of this consent thing, and she wasn't all that likable to begin with. So like, I mean, she was just one of another many Aes Sedai. So I hope that we get a few other minor Aes Sedai merged into Alana and just do away with this whole forced bonding thing, because it didn't really strike me as something that's necessary.
I'm sorry to tell you, Matt, but the costume indication sense that's in Bond is going to be a big thing, because she's like full of chain. And it's like, and it's her costume design is...
I remember that, yeah.
I think it will happen.
Probably.
I think so too. I think it has to happen, kind of.
I mean, I get how they could change the story. Alana is like... I think it shows kind of the other side of the Warder Bond and how the Aes Sedai do things for what they view as their own benefit. I'm very curious to see how it will be done in the show, and how I am not willing to pass judgment yet.
Yeah.
I think it will be done well as it can be. And I'm very sad to see Alana die on the steps of Shale Ghul.
Which, by the way, that conversation between Moiraine and Alana, where she's like, we are gonna need your strength during the last battle. And I'm like, yeah, without Alana's strength, the last battle was over.
Yeah. I mean, literally, Alana was one of the key moments to it. So it's just, I'm just trepidatious. That is a very, yes.
Yeah.
That is the word.
I'm loving Alana on the show, but it makes me so anxious, in like, not in a bad way necessarily, but just in like I don't know how this is going to unfold. Like, how are the pieces going to click together, you know?
Speaking of trepidation, I'll just get my other out the way, and the Liandrin's line, or no, the line that even Liandrin wouldn't cross the Emerald Sea. I really, really hope that they don't merge Liandrin and Elaida. What they should do, and what I hope they're going to do, is merge Liandrin and Alviren.
Yes.
Because Alviren is just sort of there. She's like, okay, we see her in the books, and then she's revealed to be like the leader of the Black Aj. I'm like, oh.
Yes.
Okay, fine, I guess.
Right. Like, that's literally it. It's like, cool. That's her defining characteristic.
Exactly. Like, that. Literally, that's all she is. But like, Liandrin, like, she being Alviren's point one, would position her to be Elaida's keeper.
Which would be amazing.
Oh my god.
Yes. And I don't think that the show really has the time or the bandwidth to explain the deep politics of one Aja choosing another Aja, and specifically why this Aja for a keeper. And having Liandrin just be Alviren cuts that out, and also gives Liandrin more stuff to do with the plot.
Yeah. We get more Kate Fleetwood too.
Regarding the keepers, that's a good point that I had not thought about, because it is a bit weird to pick a keeper from another Aja. However, I do like that the head of the Black Aja is not a red one. So that's my biggest thing. But I mean, you could have other Aes Sedai that are black, that are non-red.
Yeah.
One merge that I was considering more was Liandrin and Galina, because they're both red. But we'll see.
Galino's the top.
I don't think they're going to even mention about the Amerlin and the Keeper needing to be from the same Aja, because that doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah.
And when when Leanne changes Ajas, I don't think it's really going to matter if that happens. If Liandrin has that role, yeah, I hope she does.
Yeah, I would love that. So my thinking is that Liandrin and Elaida play such distinct and specific roles in the series as a whole, I can't see how they would rationalize. This is at least my brain, my brain's way of soothing myself. You know, like, because Elida, specifically Elida, she plays a very distinct role in the series. And I don't think she can really, I feel like she's one character that can't really be combined with anyone else because she's like...
I don't think she will be.
She's the bad guy who's not like... I don't think so either. I would be blown away.
She's the stupid bad guy.
Yes, exactly. Who thinks she's a good guy, is convinced that she's a good guy.
I think a lot of people in the fandom have just put in their mind that there's going to be some big merge like that, and they're always considering like the worst possible merge and being like making a whole story about that and then getting angry about
what? People making bad decisions or drawing bad conclusions?
Yeah, and it's like, no, Elida is not going to be merged.
No, I would be shocked. I would be shocked if that was the case.
They play such different narrative and thematic things that we like Kat said, Elida's Trump and Liandrin is DeSantis.
There you go.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. That is exactly it.
I will say, I do have one more point on Liandrin, which is like, I loved that she is Black Aja. Spoilers. But she is so mad at Logain for killing Karene.
Oh,
yeah.
Like, I'm sure some of it was like her pure hatred of men in general that can channel. But like, I was just living for that moment where she was like,
so good.
Rage incarnate. She was literally burning herself out on the verge. And she was willing to do it. She was like, yes, I love the Dark One, but I love Karene more.
Yes.
So...
Yeah, wasn't there something in the books like Black sisters are dedicated to the Dark, but they're still Aes Sedai and they still have that bond with other Aes Sedai that is only subservient to the bond with the Dark. So where the Dark does not conflict, their strongest bond is with other Aes Sedai. Did I word that correctly? I'm not sure.
I don't remember anything like that, but that doesn't mean anything because it's been a long time.
A long time.
I mean, you haven't started your 15th reread, James? Are you even a real fan?
No, I'm really not.
Like, I immediately started rereading all books at once at the same time when I finished A Memory of Light.
One page each.
Books.
Okay.
Can you imagine? You're just sitting in a circle and you just turn in a circle.
Kat, you also had a mention on Logain.
Oh, yes. Okay. So, Nynaeve is very obviously present to see Logain being gentled, and is like involved in it in a big way. And then the upcoming parallel for when she heals him is going to be so good.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for this. Just for the parallel reasons alone, I love that this change that they made, it makes so much sense in my brain. Of her just seeing like the trauma of what gentling is. And, you know, like throughout the series, obviously, I can't wait. I can't wait for that discovery, for that initial discovery, and for her healing him and that whole scene, and then her healing Swan. And yeah, I really, really like that they made that choice. I am assuming that's why, like, I mean, at least part of the reason, and we're going to get some nice parallels going forward, but yeah. there
was a few different points on the Tuatha. I know personally, like, we've talked a little bit about Alana. I want to talk about Aram too, because it's a character that everyone hates in the book. And no, we kind of like him. Like, he's actually pretty nice.
He's hot. He is a piece.
He's a cutie.
He's cute.
See, even the Sapphics are like, yum, yum.
Well, I didn't say that.
Maybe not to that extent. But I find it very interesting that we spend a bit of time talking about Aram doubts about the Tuatha.
I think it's going to come up in season 3 because it's been confirmed that they go back to the Two Rivers. I think he's going to be on the Rumspringa for Tuatha on, and then he's going to end up in the Two Rivers and pick up a weapon and follow Perrin and be Perrin's boy and lick his boots and
be Perrin's good boy.
Yeah, good boy. I have two very one smaller thing. One was sneaking in. They mentioned that sneaking in while they were sleeping and using lightning as a way to capture Logain. That was just a cute little nod to how they rescued Egwene and Perrin from the White Cloaks and Eye of the World. The other one is, where are the tendrils of power coming from with Logain? Because with the Aes Sedai, it originates within them or around them. Mm-hmm. With Logain, you see tendrils of the black, which I assume is just the taint from the Dark One. And I guess the power is still originating from him. Mm-hmm. But I'm just very confused about that part.
I think that even in the battle in the first episode, like, not all of the tendrils were coming from Moraine or nearby. So I think they're a bit expanding on that. But yeah, it's a good question. I'm curious whether they're going to expand at some point on where the power come from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kat, you had also tiny thing.
Yeah, I had one other tiny thing. The dream with Matt with the red hands and Perrin with the hammer. So the Perrin hammer thing, we've kind of already touched, like, it's been discussed kind of in the show where Perrin's conflicted feelings.
Right.
But Matt with the red hands was really what got me. I was like,
yeah.
Okay. This is a very, like, book fans know.
Band of the Red Hand.
Yeah, exactly. Band of the Red Hand. And I was like, oh, that is a really cool, like, sort of book tidbit, like a little Easter egg for the book fans. And
yeah, I agree.
Like 4 seasons later, or however many, 3 seasons later, it'll become very relevant. And I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that happens.
Mm-hmm. And then even Egwene being in the dream, it kind of, like, to me, it kind of, like, maybe was hinting at her connection with the dream, like with dreaming, because that is a talent that she, yeah. And so I personally liked it. I think it could have been probably constructed a little bit better, a little bit more cohesive, but I like the elements that were in the dream that that Rand was having. It was good.
And I think the last thing I wanted to say overall for this episode, I thought it was setting up a lot of things and many things in a short time. It also explained a lot of different tiny tidbits everywhere. We got some background on Lan and Nynaeve, we got some channeling madness, we got some internal drama with the Aes Sedai, a lot of stuff about the Way of the Leaf, and some red, blue, green Asia explanation. And it's like the world is getting bigger, and it's also not overwhelming watcher with information, I think. There's a lot, but also done in a way that doesn't feel like, oh, you are actually in an history lesson about the Wheel of Time.
Yeah, it wasn't full-on exposition. It was just very good world building.
Yeah. It happened very naturally. Like, it just, as things came up, like, it didn't feel like characters were just standing up and saying, like, and the red Aja is this. Like, it just felt very natural. The writing was just overall really well done in this episode. It was,
I agree,
really, really well done. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Bussies of Time. Once again, this was Camille, Kat, James, and Matt. And if you would like to join our Discord server, you can do that. We have lots of fun opportunities to join in with queer fun stuff on there. And if you'd like to follow us on social media, you can find us at Queers of Time on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, where theoretically we exist. And if you would like to support us on Patreon, I think that would be a great idea. I would write short stories for you featuring you dying gruesome Cthulhu-like deaths if you were to join our Patreon. So that's all. Thank you for listening and have a great week.
If I didn't know that it would fuck up the recording, I would have closed this tab the second you said Bussies of Time.
Thank you all for listening. This was Queers of Time, a Wheel of Time podcast. The music is Dance of the Witches by Julius H.